What's up, everybody? Welcome back to IGN Live at San Diego Comic-Con 2014, brought to you by Lucy and the Evil Within. Ladies and gentlemen, we are nothing without you, so go to our Facebook page, like us, then make sure you ask us questions for our panel of experts using the hashtag IGN Live. Gentlemen, it's time to talk about Legend of Korra. Of course, I'm joined by Marty, Atsushi, Robert, and Shitohama. Tell me all about the game, guys. What is happening? Platinum Games teaming up to make it blew up the internet when it was announced. What is Platinum bringing to this established franchise?
So, great question. I'm Robert Conkey, producer at Activision. So it's bringing a lot. Basically, if you aren't familiar with the original Avatar series, Legend of Korra is kind of a continuation of that. It's the idea where there's different benders and different nations, and bending is this ability to manipulate elements, and kind of there's an avatar who can manipulate all of them, the only person in the world. Korra is kind of the one and only avatar of the world, which is this is kind of a sequel to that series. And
sure.
Our game was kind of produced by, we worked on it with the actual creators of the show. The head writer, Tim Hedrick, penned the story. We worked very closely with the creators to ensure that we're very close to, as close to the show as absolutely possible.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And then, they've brought their exact flavor of action to that brand while keeping with the world. So we're very excited.
So does the game take place during a set season of the show? Is it set between two seasons? How does that work?
It actually takes place right in between books 2 and 3.
Okay.
So there's a 2-week period in between, and that's what happens.
Very cool.
So.
Why was this, I guess this goes to the Platinum crew, of course. Why was this a game Platinum wanted to make?
PG さんはなぜこのゲームを作ろうと思っていました？
そうですね。まず今回のこの原作のアニメーションの素晴らしさですね。アクションであったりシナリオも素晴らしくて、特にアクションが出来がすごいので、そういったところで我々の培ってきた技術であったり経験が活かせると思いました。
So I mean, they saw the show and they're just blown away. The action was awesome. Really awesome.
Yeah.
And as well as the story was just so incredibly well done. They saw it and they thought that it would be a perfect fit for their skill set as a studio. So
I want to talk a little bit about the fact that what we see here, Korra, obviously not just for kids, but it is a cartoon.
Yep.
Platinum. When I think of Platinum, I think of Vanquish, and I think of Bayonetta, and I think of Mad World, and I think of these games where fools get ripped up and there's a lot of blood.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing this, and this is something you can play with your little cousin. You could both enjoy. So what was that like? Taking a step back and sort of making something for all ages.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a question for Shirahama-san, who's the director
definitely.
of the project. So, 以前の PG さんのゲームを考えると、結構血が派手に出てるっていうところが暴力的な表現が多いじゃないですか。今回はそういうわけにはいけなかったじゃないですか。そこら辺はどうなりました？
初めは僕たちにこういう清らかなゲームが作れるのかなって心配だったんですけど、実際作ってみてみんなで画面を見て、こういう表現もアニメの表現もすごくいいねっていう、改めてアニメの表現って素晴らしいなっていうのを実感しました。
So, I mean, they took a look at the show itself. I mean, they were a little bit, that was a concern for them as well, right? It wasn't necessarily what they'd always done. But they took a look at the show, and they figured it was something that they'd be able to do. And it was really awesome and right in line with the kind of, it's still totally up their alley.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Talking about it being in line, I mean, how much is it in line with their fan base, I guess? You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things, I think, there's the Venn diagram, right, of like Platinum Games fan and Korra fan. There's got to be a pretty healthy intersection. I mean, were they expecting their audience to connect with it, and then were they really worried at all about living up to expectations?
Sure. PG さんのいろんなファンがいると思うんですけど、PG さんのファンであれば、どう思うと思いますか？やっぱりコラのファンとプラチナのファンはどっちもいると思いますので、どう反応してるんですか？
多分触ってもらったらすぐに分かると思うんですけど、もうゲームはプラチナゲームのアクションです。
So he's like, any Platinum fan that picks it up is going to know from the moment they do that it's a Platinum game. So.
Is it going to have that sort of the way something like Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance worked? There was like a very accessible sort of easy mode where you can get through the game if you just want to have the story. There's also the insane difficulty modes where you're just bashing your head against the wall and trying to master the combat. Is that same balance going to exist here in Korra?
Absolutely. So it's going to start with an easy mode, or sorry, there's going to be 2 options, casual mode and a normal mode. Normal being a normal Platinum Games fan mode. And then casual will be for, maybe you're a fan of the show, but you're not necessarily a third-person action gamer. So it's kind of that idea. So you can choose from whichever one you want, and then once you've beaten the game, you unlock extreme mode, which is all the punishment you could possibly desire.
Of course. If Platinum,
Yes.
I'd imagine the same. For Atsushi, right here we're seeing this new basically on rails running section. We just saw some fighting. How are you mixing up the gameplay mechanics that you're using so it's not just the same thing over and over again?
今長野走ってるところを見てるんですけど、これでちょっとその戦闘してるゲームプレイと違うじゃないですか。こういった感じも含めてゲームプレイをどうミックスしてるんでしょうか。
そうですね、今回、今ご覧いただいているゲームっていうのはミニゲームとして、途中の、なんていうんですかね、スパイスというか息抜きというかですね、そういった形で入ってるんですけども、今回ターゲットもかなり年齢層も低いので、こういったような途中にカジュアルというかそういうような遊びを入れてますね。
So it's really kind of a blend of the harder core, well, the traditionally hardcore fighting style, as well as that kind of a mini game. There's several, but basically the idea is that you kind of use that to mix up the fighting sequence, so you're just not fighting all the time.
Sure.
And it's just kind of a fun thing. The fans are really big into it, into the whole Naga thing.
Oh yeah.
We have had great reactions. So.
I feel like 2 months ago, I never would have imagined, I'm very excited for this game, being excited for a Platinum game that's based off, a cartoon. But now I'm thinking, now I want a Platinum Power Rangers game, I want a Platinum He-Man game,
Yeah.
I want all of these cartoons I grew up with, and now I want Platinum to make them.
Right.
Real Ghostbusters.
Oh, man.
Can you imagine?
RGB.
2ヶ月前。
I'm putting in the words, put in the good word for the thing.
もうパワーレンジャーズのゲームを作ってほしいし、いろんなライセンスのゲームを作ってほしいなと。
Is that something that they want to do? Does Platinum want to make more licensed games?
これ以上ライセンスゲームをこれから作っていきたいと思います。
そうですね、もうこれ今後もファンの皆さんからユーザーの皆さんからご要望があれば、叶えていきたい。
They said if the players demanded enough, they certainly will consider it.
Okay, good.
Very cool.
For Shitahama, we had the voice actors on earlier, and they were here talking about this, and they were saying that making the voices for the game was a lot more difficult. They were saying you guys, have them in there, and they're going, and you need a million things. Like, are they
Yeah.
being wusses? Are they is it as hard as they're making it out to be?
Right. 先ほど声優さんたちがここにいたみたいですけど、なんかゲームのための収録はいろいろ大変なところがあって、なんかみたいなことをたくさんしなきゃいけなくて、でそのみんながもう弱いやつだけなんか本当に大変だったと思いますか？
大変だったと思います。だからいろんなパワーを表現するためにはいろんなダメージを表現しなきゃいけないですね。そのためにいろんなダメージのボイスが必要だったんです。だから楽しみにしててください。
He said he doesn't think they're wusses. There's a lot of
The political answer.
yeah. Well, I mean, there was a lot of different forms of damage in this game, and we needed appropriate VO for all those different forms, and there were quite a few. So, yeah, that's how it ended up.
For Robert, on Activision's side,
Yeah.
why was this a game they wanted to publish? Why was this something that they felt needed to come to market?
Yeah, I think it speaks for itself. I mean, it's just such an incredible series, and we've had a great relationship with Nickelodeon since way back in the day.
Sure.
We did SpongeBob with them. We've done all kinds of things. But so basically, they said they were thinking of doing a game of Legend of Korra, and we're like, that sounds awesome. And then I remember we have a business guy who goes around and talks to developers and sees who's available, and I know Platinum Games was on the list. And they were like, so what do you guys think? Here's our list of potential developers. I was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
They're really on there? I don't think we need to think about this anymore, guys. Let's just talk to them right now.
Right.
So that was kind of how it went. And they saw it and they loved it just as much as we did. So it just kind of worked out.
That's great.
Yeah.
Traditionally, Platinum obviously has released the $60 box retail
Sure.
video game, and now this is a downloadable title. It's assumedly cheaper than $60.
Right.
So is that something,
15.
as a studio looking forward to, they want to, be able to have both worlds, have the, full box video game as well as, smaller downloadable ones that the teams are both able to work on?
Sure. This is for 黒川さん。今回はダウンロードコンテンツじゃないですか。これからもリテール版と、商品版とデジタル版も、いくつかのタイトルをこれから作っていくっていう予定でしょうか。
そうですね。
そういう考え方でしょうか。
特にデジタルであったりリテール版であったりというところは特に我々としてはこだわりないんで、できればフルサイズでリテール版を作っていきたいなと。この続編も可能であればぜひ 作っていきたい
でもダウンロードコンテンツも
そうですねはい
So I mean, they love doing both. You know, the retail stuff though. You know, that's he said they're most excited about retail. They're also very excited about downloadable, but they're like, you know, if we do a sequel, can we do it retail? So yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been asking you all day to be part of the show by going to our Facebook page and giving us questions. Someone did. Let's go to it. It's Sean Miller, not related to me, I swear. He said, "Did you learn anything from the combat in Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance that you implemented in this game?"
Did you learn anything from Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance that you implemented in this game? MGRR を開発していた時にいろんなノウハウを手に入れたかと思うんですけど、そのノウハウをレジェンド・オブ・コーラにアプライしたことありました。
どうですかね。
まあ言っていいのかわかんないですけど、基本的にこのゲームエンジンの部分に関してはかなり参考にするべきところがたくさんありましたね。でゲームに関しては、まあ、その軍事系のゲームとこっちはそのコーラという少女のベンディング修行っていうゲームなんで全く違うんですけど、
別ですね。
技術的なベースという意味では共通している部分があります。
So from a technological standpoint, they're working with their engine that they also use for Metal Gear Rising. So definitely, there's a lot of like the tech, the stuff that's not necessarily on the surface, is definitely from learnings on Metal Gear Rising. But in terms of gameplay, I mean, it's just so different that it wasn't necessarily there wasn't anything that you could say directly came from that title.
Sure.
But yeah, so that's pretty much it.
Very cool.
Robert, you want to run me through the bullet points on the game? Like how many?
Sure.
How long is it?
Sure.
How long? How many levels? How many characters? Multiplayer? Online? Offline?
Sure.
It's Connect? Is it in the cloud? Does it have saves?
Woo! All right. So we've got single player.
Yeah.
Single player. It's about we're expecting approximately 4 hours for the first playthrough. It's intended to have 3 playthroughs. Lots of replay value.
Why 3 specifically?
So there's various reasons, but the first time through is like you'll unlock the majority of the moves. The second time through is you're going to start getting some of the high-level items. There's a whole economy system and there's a store. You're going to start getting some of the high-level items, and then the third time through, you're going to have to use everything that you had in order to get anywhere, because we're expecting you'll play that on extreme.
Yeah.
And it's going to be pretty intense. So, and particularly in the first time through, so the story is that your abilities get blocked by a mysterious villain that we haven't revealed yet.
Sure.
And so you spend some of that in the beginning without all of your powers, and so you eventually have to get them back. And so once you've beaten it once, then you start the whole game with all your powers.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of, and it becomes a whole different deal when you've got everything.
Yeah, I bet,
especially
I bet.
with the higher difficulty and stuff. So it's, we're expecting players will spend quite a long time on it. There's also another mode called Pro Bend, which is based on Pro Bending, which is the official sport that was featured very prominently in Korra Book 1. And it's basically a 3v3 situation. So it's Korra with Team Avatar, Mako and Bolin, together with her doing like a sports thing, and against 3 other pro benders, and each of them do a certain bending type. And there's a whole game where you have to gain and lose territory. You can get knocked out, kind of like boxing. So it's pretty involved, and it's a pretty cool mode. So it's also got 3 difficulty levels associated with it. So there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, it's just a lot for your downloadable game.
Yeah, exactly.
When does it come out?
So it's coming out fall this year.
All right.
So yeah.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming by, showing us the
Absolutely.
game, talking
Absolutely.
to us about the game. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, of course, for watching.